Hey everybody, it's Braden here from Royal LePage, Little Oak Realty. Thanks for hanging out with me this month. We are going to be talking about October, and we did see a number of changes in the market that happened over the past month or two that I'm excited to share with you, so let us hop right into it. Sales climbed for the second straight month, but prices are still easing. Here is what you need to know. Month over month, new listings were down 16%. Sales, were up 16%. Inventory levels down 5%. And compared to that, a long-term 10-year average, new listings still up slightly, up by 16%. Sales, look at this, down by just 27%. So this number has been as low as 40%. But since we've had sales climbing for the past 2 months in a row now, we are starting to see, compared to the 10-year average, this number increase a little bit. So that's nice to see this sort of dynamic start to ease a little bit. And I think I've touched on that in past videos, how I think we're going to start to see this ease a little bit more, and hopefully that bleeds into the new year as well. However, looking at inventory levels, still 55% higher than normal. I think at worst, toward the beginning of this year, it was more like 60%, but it's still been hovering pretty close to that number for some time now. Here is some current news to keep tabs on. Inflation in Canada is easing. That's always good news. Headline inflation fell to 2.2%. However, core measures of inflation remain elevated. So what the bank does is they like to strip away the volatile components of inflation to try to get a more accurate read on things. And these core measures are still probably hovering around 2.7 or 2.9%. So, when gasoline is all over the place and gasoline suddenly falls, as it has been lately, you've probably noticed at the pump, if it falls, that can give a false reading of inflation. That might make it seem like prices are lower than they actually are because of how volatile it is. So they like to strip out those volatile items, like I said, to try to get a more accurate read. But because those core measures are still elevated, we're likely to see a pause from the Bank of Canada in December. They have one more interest rate decision before the year is out. And similarly, the odds of a cut in the USA are now hovering around probably less than 50%. So we probably won't see another interest rate cut in the USA for similar reasons. Their inflation is running high, and they are starting to see signs of stability in their labor market now. So the economy seems to be strong, so it doesn't seem like there is much of a reason for them to continue cutting this year. Furthermore, what is going on with prices? They are still dropping. In spite of sales increasing for a couple of months in a row, they're still dropping. They're down 5 to 6% in aggregate since March, I would say. I also looked at the selling rate. How strong is this market right now? And I would say the market right now is about 30% slower year over year, so compared to the same time last year. And what I mean by that is the selling rate is currently probably around 13%, and last year I think it was about 18%. So we did have a stronger, sort of more balanced market last year. And, the market, unfortunately, has been cooling sort of as these successive years has gone by. It's gotten slower and slower and slower. And that leaves an open-ended question for next year. What happens in 2026? I hope that the increase in sales that we're seeing right now, like I said before, bleeds into the new year, and hopefully we get some more interest rate cuts happening next year as well. And that just creates the conditions for a more balanced market, just a healthier market, more transactions, more people being freed up to move and make things happen in their lives, important things to happen in their lives. But anyways, thank you so much for listening to me this month, and I hope I catch you next time. Bye now.